All right, we'll wrap up a little bit about last week's game. I thought that that was one of our better games defensively. It wasn't one of our better games on offense. We made a lot of mental mistakes. We're doing a few more things on offense. I think that it took a little time to grasp. And also, we played more players. We played more offensive linemen. We were able to get all three of our running backs back. I thought our tight ends played their best game on offense. Gunner didn't have a great game. He had a good game, much to be expected, especially with the inclement weather. Looking forward to having a dry Saturday one of these days. It could happen this week, but we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But offensively, we did enough to win the game. Still didn't play very good in the red zone. Left a bunch of points out on the field, having to kick field goals. Our special teams, we had the one bad snap in the blocked field goal. Our timing was off a little bit on the field goal, and I think, again, a lot of those things where you handle the ball so much, the weather plays a factor, so we've got to do a better job of that. It'll probably have one or maybe two more rain games depending on the weather, because it looks like we're having a lot of moisture. But defensively, we played well, we played hard, we played consistent. We only gave up, I think, 2 of 11 third down conversions, which is huge for what we have done in the past. Really proud of our defense, how much they've grown up. We've got a long way to go. We're playing more players. Silverberry didn't play that much in the game, trying to get him rested. Not that we were counting that we didn't need him. We just got to rest him. We got to play other guys. Landon Brazil, really the first time he'd played as much as he played. I was really proud of his speed off the ball, making plays, very aggressive, playing reckless. And a guy like him is going to have to continue to play well for us. Broughton did not play last week. We held him out because of an ankle. He'll be ready to go this week. And we're getting closer to being full speed with the guys that have not had surgery. So overall, it wasn't a great game for us. It was a great game of winning, but it wasn't the best game that we played. We can play much better. And again, attribute a little bit that to the weather, and also new quarterback, hadn't played in a month. And then playing offensive lineman. We've got to play more offensive linemen. I mean, there's just no way around it. We've got to get more guys in the game, because at this time of the year, at this point in the year, we're wearing down a little bit. We've played 7 games. We've got 5 to go. This season will be over with 32 days from today in terms of regular season. So we've got a short period of time, and we've got to start playing other players to try to keep them as rested as possible, because we do have three of these games are going to be on the road. Pretty good travel games. This week's game against Central Florida, a team that we have not played since I've been here. They've had real good football teams, and obviously this is not one of their better ones. George O'Leary, friend, stepped down this week. He said for the betterment of the team and him and the coaches. It's hard to do. We've already talked about this one time this year, but unfortunately these things are starting to happen more and more. You kind of feel for the players about the change, but good thing here is basically the offense and defensive coordinators are the same. They won't change a whole lot. It's you can't do that in a short period of time, but they might just have a different mindset. But hate to see George get out of it. I thought that the way he talked the last few years that he was getting close, but with the good teams that he had, it's probably hard to do that, give it up. But they've had some very close games. Been very unlucky in some situations. Had a quarterback hurt for most of the year. He's back, so we'll pretty much see a much improved team. Last week they played very well against Houston for most part until late, and then same thing with Temple the week before, leading going into the fourth quarter. So it's a team that does have talent, does have a group that can play, and they're looking for the right combination, obviously, and things to fall their way. So looking forward to the game at 12 o'clock this week. We need a lot of people to come. Halloween, be a good kickoff to Halloween. Come, enjoy a football game, and then take your kids out trick-or-treating. Questions?
You had Leviticus Payne move from their nickelback, Sam linebacker, over to cornerback for 3 games, but you moved him back to the original spot. What was the thinking there?
We felt for the running game he was going to be better that situation. He does a good job inside, plays like an outside linebacker, very quick. Mike Tyson didn't have the best game that we think he could have had the week before, so we thought we had a drop-off there. He'll still play some at nickel, Leviticus, and Mike Tyson will be his backup. But Leviticus also will move out to defensive back, simply for the fact that we've got 2 redshirt freshmen out there, guys that have not played that much, and we need a little stability out there at times, possibly when things, go the other way on us. We need another alternative, but we want to keep getting all these young defensive backs reps. Alex Thomas is a guy that's going to be a heck of a football player. He's got to learn what to do, how to play, and the only way you can learn is get out there and get going. We've really, for the past few weeks, have taken a step backwards in terms of experience, but we've got more athletic ability on the field. And so in the long run, this is really going to work out well for us for the next few years at corner. But right now we're having to work through growing pains. And Leviticus being there with experience moving back and forth help. Zach Edwards continues to get them all lined up. I mean, he's a guy that's, thank goodness we've got him. He's the only remaining starter from that we started at the beginning of the year. And he is actually playing better. The fact that he's having to really concentrate on everybody else, making sure they're doing the right things in terms of alignment before the snap. And I think it's helped his confidence that he knows and understands the defense better. And he's actually been able to make a lot more plays than he did in the first 5 games.
Morrison and McKay, are they healthy?
Who?
Max Morrison and McKay.
Max Morrison, he took that hit in the chest at BYU. He was probably 85-90% last week. He wasn't the Max Morrison that we saw the first 5 or 6 weeks, because he's been one of our standouts. He looked a step slow last week. I think that had something to do with the weather too. We tried to get the ball to him. Didn't work out as well as had in the past. McKay took a knee to the ribs about the 5th play after one of his catches. We just held him out. I mean, he wasn't full speed. He'll be practicing today. So, it's just one of those things. You're going to have the bumps and bruises, and we've got to get Chris Moore back to where he was this season. And he's healthy. He looks rusty. He doesn't run the routes that he ran earlier. He did make the one catch in the end zone that he said he actually caught the ball, the one-handed catch, and he brought it in. He just happened to roll over it with the hand underneath him. Unfortunately, he didn't give it to him. That was a great catch. He's getting better. Chris is getting. We're going to need him in these next 5 games, along with everybody else. Shaq is caused 8 away from setting a school record, and he'll get that, in the next few weeks, and we're excited about that for him because he is a heck of a football player for us and made a lot of plays.
The red zone's been an issue in a number of games. What needs to happen there to get improvement in that area?
Well, the thing, it starts with the offensive line, and it starts with play calling. We look at everything that we call. Eddie critiques himself. We look at the plan, we go in. You still got to be able to run the ball. It seems like when we get down there, and we'll be the first to admit it, that sometimes we go to the air too quick, and you throw the ball on first down in the red zone, then you're 2nd and 10 if you don't complete it, and then you got to have a great run to get 10 yards and get the first down, and then if you don't get it, then 3rd down's either make it or break it. And I think we live off our field goal kicker a little bit too much because he's been so good. But the thing is, we recognize the problems. Each week we make adjustments to what we do. We have a plan, a condensed plan once we get inside the 25-yard line, and we really work that in practice. We try to move our formations. We try to give the defense some problems other than just do the same things you do in the middle of the field. And sometimes we're our own worst enemy. We make mistakes in those new things that we put in. So there's got to be a balance of what we do in the red zone. But again, they condense it down. It takes away your vertical routes, which we're good at, getting guys down the field because they don't have as much grass to cover. And so they can get more people up in the box in the running game. We got to be more physical in the offensive line. We got to be able to run it on first down. We got to run more play action. And then, obviously it's got to be just execution. But, Eddie'd be the first to tell you, it's also about having that right plan against the people that you're playing. And sometimes you have a good plan, sometimes you don't. I mean, it just doesn't work out.
Quarterback competition continues.
Quarterback competition starts back today at 3 o'clock out there in the bubble. Again, it was fun to watch last week, the leadership on both of them. And we got the best of both worlds. We got 2 guys that can play, 2 guys that are friends, and 2 guys that are trying to do the best on every play every time they take a snap. And it's just going to make both of them better. Now, there's a lot of tension. There's going to be some hurt feelings as we go through the year if we pick one guy over the other, as was last week. A little bit of an advantage for Gunner last week, fresh arm, fresh legs, and Hayden had the heck knocked out of him at BYU and didn't recover to about midweek. So now he's healthy. Now let's see what happens. Now Gunner didn't get hit that much last week, but I think now your competition starts in terms of two guys that are, they're chomping at the bits to get underneath the center and run the football team. And I got confidence in both, and it could be either one. Again, Gunner didn't play his best game last week, nor did Hayden play the week before. So we've got to get that happy medium in there, and might have situations where you play both of them. We've got to look at that because you got one of them standing over on the bench, and if one of them doesn't play for a couple of games, I mean they get rusty. They don't have that speed of the game tempo, and so we've talked about that of having the one that's not in there, having certain 2 or 3 things that we want that one person, if he goes in, he's got to concentrate on. I mean, this is what you got to concentrate on, and this is what we're going to call when we put you in the game. 4 or 5 plays that we'll work on hard on Thursdays, because on Thursdays the number 1 takes all the snaps of the 1s, and then on the 2s, that's the other quarterback. And we run about 120 plays every Thursday in practice, and so there's plenty of reps. Oh, yeah. I've never been in this situation. I've talked to people, and there's not many people that have that go through this, because I feel, and I think most of us feel pretty confident that both of them has done a good job at times this year. And I think it's important that we pick out the right one in the situation. For instance, Gunner throws a wet ball well, and I don't think there was any doubt that he was the guy to go in that game, and he was, I think, had the first 2 passes were incomplete, and he went 11 straight completions, and that was during one of the hardest parts of the rain. And so, it's a pretty good case for him. He shows, his benefit in a certain situation. But, we know the strong points and weak points as a coaching staff of both of them, and we just want to make sure that we don't take away from one, as you said, Joe. It's kind of hard, when you got 2. But I'd rather have 2 than just 1. At the end of the day, when you got 1, you look at all these teams that have 1 and they go down, you really have a major drop-off. And, when Gunner went down in the Memphis game, we're all wondering, now what's the season going to look like? And, of course, we didn't win the game, but we found out there was a kid that walked out on the field that did pretty good. And so I think now that these 2 kids can practice and pull for each other and pull against each other at times in practice, that it'll make for good, friendly competition and hopefully make both of them better, other than drag both of them down. That's what I don't want to happen.
You mentioned you've talked to some people about the situation. Anybody you've reached out to in particular that has knowledge or has helped you in the situation?
Yeah, I'm not going to bring up their names because they probably don't want it out there, but some guys that I've coached against over the years, mostly passing coaches. Some of these in these running offenses that quarterback runs the ball all the time, makes no difference. You better have 2 in that offense because you're going to end up having to play 2. I think the big thing in the passing offense is that, and as I talk to people that I've worked with and worked around, it's all about the timing and make sure you get enough reps in practice with both. And both of them are going to get the same amount of reps, and both of them are going to use the same wide receivers. So they're going to throw the 1s and the 2s because we run them in and out. We might be out there with the 2s, and for instance, Hayden might be the backup quarterback that day, but he'll have Chris Moore and Shaq and those guys at receiver because they just rotate 4 or 5 plays, and then they're out, and another group comes in. So the timing won't be the problem with throwing the ball because we, as we know, we throw the ball and throw it quite often. So I feel good about that scenario. Both of them getting enough reps together with the group of wide receivers that we have.
We see all the time in sports when a coach either leaves, whether it's he steps down or gets fired, the team comes out sometimes and plays their best game of the year. We've seen it with UFC recently, we've seen it in the NFL with Dolphins. Does that at all affect how you prepare this week? Do you say anything to your players to let them know it's probably going to be the best UCF plays?
Yeah, we'll bring. Now they played pretty good. They just hadn't been able to get over the hump, and they play hard. I don't think they're going to get much more out of them effort-wise, because just watching them, the effort has been there. They've got a lot of younger guys in certain situations. They graduated a few. Again, they've had, unfortunately, injuries like most of us have in situations like a quarterback. But, just the new enthusiasm that maybe an interim guy might bring. We played Connecticut a few years ago, my first year here, and the coach had been let go the week of our game just like this. They brought a new guy in, TJ Weiss, who had been here. Same scenario with the coach now that's the interim at UCF. They bring a want and desire to beat the team that they'd, had some association with. So it'll be a vitalized, rejuvenated team. I understand that. But then it all comes down to blocking and tackling, execution. And hopefully we just stick to what we're doing. And we won't see much different. There might be a tweak here or there, but still same coordinator, still same guys calling the plays and the defenses.
You mentioned Shaq approaching the record for most catches ever at UC. You look at football on this level, everybody talks about size and animal size. How is he able to produce like he does, given his size and skills?
Hey, well, number one, he's very quick, and you can't put a price tag on quickness. You can give me a straight liner all day. I'll take the quick guy. Quickness wins in football, in most positions, because if you're not quick enough to get away from something, it doesn't make any difference. Shaq is very football savvy. He understands football. He loves to play football. I told him Saturday he made some of the easiest catches. He made them look like acrobatic catches. Jump up, catch them, spin around, put a foot down. You can't teach a lot of that stuff. You can't do it. And there's a lot of little guys in the NFL playing, and I don't call them little because they're still pretty good sized guys, but just not compared to these 6'3", 6'4" guys. But Shaq will have an opportunity to be playing past this year, and I'm excited for him because he's got great hands, he's got great knowledge of the game, and he wants to play. And there's a lot of guys, as I said, playing in the NFL, they're making a pretty good living, doing the same thing he's doing for us.